Before I get started with this video, I just wanted to clarify that this is for educational and informative purposes only. There will be no party bias in this video. That means it's going to be completely neutral, and I'm here today to tell you why young people should vote, not who you should vote for. So without further ado, on with the video.
On tonight's program, ladies and gentlemen, we have something that's going to make you sick.
So unless your name is Patrick Starr and you have been living under an actual rock, you will know that there is going to be a general election in the UK on the 12th of December 2019. As I'm filming this video, that is less than 1 month away, and the deadline to register to vote is 5 PM on the 26th of November if you live in England, Scotland or Wales, and 5 PM on the 21st of November if you live in Northern Ireland. That's literally a week away. So this video contains 2 calls for action. Number 1 is that if you haven't yet registered to vote, do so right now on the gov.uk website. I'm going to leave the link in the top line of the description down below, so it's super easy to access. Go and do it literally right now. Number 2, if you're already registered or too young to vote, then share this video with someone who can. I'm going to be sharing some reasons why it's especially important for young people to vote, and maybe it could encourage someone to vote, maybe it will encourage you to vote, so that's what I'm going to do today. The first thing I think we should address is how will the general election work? Essentially, the point of the election is that on the 12th of December 2019, the UK public will elect a new government. We will do this by heading to the polling booths on the 12th of December, placing a vote for one candidate in our constituency. A constituency is the geographical area that we live in. The UK general election operates under a first past the post system. First past the post basically means that the candidate in each constituency who gets the highest number of votes becomes the representative for that constituency, and there's absolutely no prize for second place. So as an example, I guess, of how that would work, in a constituency, if party 1 got 50 votes and party 2 got 49 votes, then there would be absolutely nothing for party 2, even though they only got 1 vote less. Party 1 would get the seats because they got the most. A representative is then elected in every single constituency around the country. These representatives from a plethora of parties become the House of Commons. The party who have the most representatives in the House of Commons can then form a government. And in principle, this government should be in action for 4 years. They now have what's called a mandate, which basically means they have a legitimacy to rule because we elected them to make decisions on our behalf. So in order to vote, you need to head to the government website and register with your national insurance number. Your polling card will then be delivered to you in the post, and this will tell you where you need to go to vote on election day. On December the 12th, go to the polling station, and then you tell the staff at the desk that you are there so they can register that you voted. Then you go into the booth and put a cross in one of the boxes for the party that you want to vote for. One thing I do think is important to say here is that only you will know who you voted for. When you register at the desk upon arrival at the polling station, that's basically just so that they know that you voted, not who you voted for. That information is then used for statistical purposes, so how many people voted, which age groups voted, and which areas in the country had the highest and lowest turnouts. When it comes to picking a party to vote for, I'm not here to tell you who to vote for, but what I will say is make an informed decision. Regardless of who you thought you would vote for before the election, who your parents vote for, who you've always voted for before in the past, every election is different and every person is different, so definitely read the manifestos and information on the parties. This could literally take you just half an hour of research, but make sure that you are voting for a party that you actually understand the policies of. I'll also add a link to the description box down below with a non-biased source which gives you sort of a good overview of what each of the parties stand for, so it will literally take you no time at all. So why should young people vote? Well, quite simply because every single vote counts. Personally, I'm of the opinion that there is no such thing as a wasted vote, because the very fact that you voted shows the people in power that you would like to be represented. Low turnout in specific age groups says to the people in power that you don't care, you're not interested, you don't need to be represented because you don't make a difference. If an age group isn't voting and therefore isn't making a difference to elections and votes, then political parties won't need to cater to your interests. For example, if 90% of 65-year-olds turn out to vote in comparison to 20% of 18-year-olds, then obviously political parties are going to represent the interests of 65-year-olds, because they know that if they can get these people on side, they're going to get more votes and more power. And let's be real, that is already happening. Ultimately, if young people don't vote, then we're effectively telling politicians, you can do anything you want to us because we won't do anything about it. We are not going to affect your power and authority because we don't vote. Therefore, no matter what party you vote for, or even if you spoil the ballots, which basically means that you write outside of the box, or you cross all of the boxes, or you write a swear word across the boxes, that is still considered political participation, and you will be registered as one one of those 18 to 24-year-olds that voted. They do register the number of spoiled ballots, but that can never be traced back to you. Like I said, no one will know what you do in that polling booth aside from you. So purely by turning out and participating, you are showing the government that you want to be represented. Similarly, there is no such thing as wasting a vote on a specific party. Granted, some votes have more of an impact in who gets the seat, and you can sway the vote by voting tactically, but you can also show your support for smaller parties with a smaller kind of focus. And even if that doesn't get them a representative or a seat in the House of Commons, it still does make a difference, and this is how. If your main priority is green issues and you vote for the Green Party, although it is very, very unlikely that the Green Party will get into power, just by voting for them, you are showing that green issues matter to you. And the increasing number of votes for parties like the Green Party are encouraging bigger political parties to adopt green policies. Just like how in 2010, the UK Independence Party got 4 million votes across the country, and although this didn't give them any significant political power in the House of Commons, it did show other parties that by adopting the promises of the UK Independence Party, they could gather some extra votes, and that is exactly what David Cameron did by offering a referendum. UKIP's voters were then absorbed by the Conservative Party, and so you can see here how voting for smaller parties can affect the bigger parties and therefore national politics. Catch-all parties like the Conservative and Labour Party, who have a much higher chance of forming a government, will absorb these policies to benefit them. So what I'm saying is, no matter what party you vote for, you are still making a difference, so vote for them. Essentially, I guess the whole point of this video is that if you don't vote, then you allow politicians to ignore you. In the last general election that the UK had, only half of 18 to 24-year-olds voted. We can then compare that to the 65+ age group, where 70% of people voted. We are still one of, if not the lowest participating group. And that means that governments won't need to cater to our interests, political parties in the future won't make policies that benefit us, and ultimately when cuts and sacrifices have to be made, we are going to be the ones who suffer. Tuition fees and the increasing interest rates of tuition fees spring to mind. We are being dismissed and punished because we don't vote. So vote. Plus, in a very realistic way, the younger you are, the longer you're going to have to live with the repercussions of this election, so you might as well make a difference now. And even if things don't go the way that you wanted them to this time, hey, at least you tried. And if we participate in massive numbers this election, then the next government and future political policies will benefit us. I can't make this clear enough, but not voting is not a rebellion. If anything, the rebellion is voting. We are already faring the worst, so not participating just allows that to continue. So that is why I think you should vote. Just quickly, I did want to add that if you want to vote by proxy, which basically means that someone else votes for you on your behalf, then you need to register to vote as normal, but also apply for that by 5 PM on the 4th of December. If you want to vote by post, then you need to apply by 5 PM on the 26th of November. If, like me, you're a university student, you can actually register to vote at your university and at home. You can obviously only vote once, but the election this year falls on the week that we leave university for the term. So to save yourself getting caught out if you decide to go home early or to stay at uni for longer, make sure you are registered to vote at both so you can do it at either place. Okay. That's all from me. Hopefully this video encouraged you to vote in this election. If there's someone you know who might need convincing, then send this video to them, share it as much as you can to get the word out. You can give it a like if you liked it, and subscribe for more from me down below. I've been Jack Edwards, register to vote, the link is down below, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye!
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.